So we were given this update today, and I thought I would just like go through it and provide my own thoughts and opinions on what has been happening or what's going to be happening in this new PTB that they're going to release soon for patch 6.5. And a lot of this has been pretty interesting for me, honestly. I don't dislike everything that's coming up, which is pretty wild considering um, solo queue is getting buffed, but whatever. Anyway, uh, so this is a Happy New Year's thing, which is nice. The team is back from the holidays, and we've brought a new developer update with us. Yada yada yada. Let's kick 2023 off with a bang. All right. So the first thing they introduce is the Survivor Activity HUD, which is their own way of buffing solo queue. So that way, basically, if any survivor is doing any of these actions noted here, that there'll be a little display icon showing other survivors what they're doing, but not for the killer. And they also go as far as to say that they're even showing survivors which survivor is in a hunt, which I'm guessing is based on that little icon there around Jeff. But yeah, as on the gameplay here, we can see that Zarina is doing a generator, this Vittorio is doing a totem, this Adam is going through a chest. So we get to see what, or survivors get to see what others are doing without them having to be in a team in order to coordinate what they're doing, which is a pretty interesting idea. And I'm not mad about it. I don't play Survivor, but it's still cool to see. I also added a new health state to show when Survivor is being carried by the killer, which is also pretty cool. It's more information, but this is also a little weird at the same time because you're able to just see the auras of down survivors. But yeah, overall, I find this to be pretty interesting and neat way of helping solo survivors know what other survivors are doing. Updated wiggle mechanics. So there's a few things added here. Removing faster wiggle progression from great skill checks. Thank fuck. Because that was actually overpowered. So it's nice that they're doing that, and instead they're giving it like a mini like what was it? The perk boil over effect for anyone who hits great skill checks. So I wonder how much boil over will add to that, because that'd be fucking nuts. New sound for non-attempts, which is fine. Third, we have cleaned up the new system's interaction with Decisive Strike previously. Yeah, okay, so this doesn't really pertain to me because I'm a killer, but it's still really interesting. Overall, I think this is a good. I think this is a really good addition, especially this nerfing of the great skill checks. The nurse got nerfed, I think. Right, basically. All her add-ons got reworked. Which is a pretty interesting... Yeah, so yeah, she did get nerfed, I was right. Yeah, so now her blink attacks no longer count as basic attacks, which means now they can't proc shit, like no one escapes death, or Starstruck, or Jolt, or anything like that. And a whole bunch of different add-ons that she's had is now being reworked and to introduce different effects, which is really interesting. So Nurse has always been considered to be the most overpowered killer in the game. And I think the biggest reason why, not because her ability is overpowered, even though it is, but I think a really big reason why is because her basic attack, or her surprise, or fuck, her teleport attacks were considered basic attacks, so they were able to proc all these really strong perks that now no longer need to be nerfed for other killers now that the problem here has been fixed, which is really nice. I have no idea about any of these. I don't play Nurse personally, but they'll still be pretty interesting. It'll be interesting now to see what kind of nurse builds start coming up. The knight definitely needed a buff, and here you got a pretty kind of bandage, like yeah, it was pretty bandaged buff, right? Because his ability, people would use it at like only for loops in order to shut a loop down and force people to go elsewhere. But here they actually ended up giving you a buff to incentivize actually making longer paths. They still didn't get rid of the actual problem, which is survivors being able to see the aura and the path of the not the aura, but the trail, the orb that he turns into, to make the path for the guards, the path itself, and also the radius of the guard, which I think doing that would be perfectly fine. But instead, they added this to incentivize the path, which actually gives them a nice haste effect for that increases for the based on the length of the path that's made. Yeah, the orb actually shrinks the further it goes, which is nice. But that should just be a thing normally. Like the orb just being completely invisible. Guards will move to the position they spotted a survivor and begin chasing faster. Really? I actually didn't know this. That's actually really, really good. So, okay, that's actually pretty neat. So this greatly incentivizes actually creating long paths rather than just dropping them in a single spot. Yeah, and I'm glad that they changed that. I didn't notice it because I only play killer, but if this little thing of hiding his terror radius in his power to camp people, if that was an issue, then I'm glad that this has been changed as well. Overall, the reworks for nurse and not the reworks, but the adjustments for nurse and knight are pretty neat. Nurse definitely got hit harder than knight did get buffed, but it's still better than nothing, I guess. Eyrie of Crows got nerfed, thank the fuck, because this was absolutely broken. That is a neat little structure. I did not see that. That is really interesting, actually. That's really cool. It's kind of weak, though, ain't it? Yeah, either way, I'm not complaining. So this has definitely been known as a much more survivor-sided map than killer, based on the sheer size of it and the extremely strong pallets in the main building. So what they've done is they changed the size from a rectangle to more squarish, and they changed some of the pallets for this map, which I think they should do universally, but whatever. So yeah, several new tiles have been added. All existing tiles have new foliage. A lot of trapping killers. Yeah, everyone knows Trapper fucking sucks. They even mention it here. That's so funny. So yeah, this is definitely going to be very interesting. Overall, I like the changes here. If it actually does show to be much more even. In-game challenge tracker, don't know why this wasn't a thing before. I don't know how in the way this will be in general, but yeah, so you can actually switch it off in the out. Okay, that's perfectly fine then. Yeah, that's really good. Game flow improvements. Yeah, so what they done was while you're in queue, you could still go through the store and the archive, which wasn't really an issue for me, but it's whatever. It's neat. Merciless Killer. So this is weird to me. The result you get after a match will now be tied directly to kills, instead of incentivizing, like, instead of incentivizing going after multiple different people could just start tunneling others out in order to get merciless, which shouldn't be an issue, but people do. Not like people don't like it in general. So it's kind of weird that they further incentivize kills over actually getting hooks and whatnot. But yeah, it does do its job by making it more like direct in what it asks you to do. Yeah, and the Killer Adept achievement's similar level difficult to the Survivor counterpart. Yeah, overall this is meh. I don't really mind it, but it's whatever. Iridescent shard pieces. All non-licensed outfits would receive an option to purchase with Iridescent roughly a month after their first appearance in the store. That's pretty cool. The batches with a few characters. So far, we've added this option to outfits for the Trapper, Wraith, Hillbilly, Nurse, Huntress, Dr. Hag, Dwight, Claudette, Meg, Jake, Nia, and David. Alright, so this is like very early on in the game. You can reveal that the next characters to get the stream will be Clown, Spirit, Ace, and Fang. Alright, well, that doesn't really pertain to me. This is interesting. So, of course, there's been a lot more cheaters that have been in the game, which is normal for a game. There will be cheaters. This is really nice to see that that behavior actually gives a fuck about getting rid of anyone who decides it'd be a good idea to cheat in order to get an unfair advantage in a game. So this is really nice to show how many people have been caught and banned. At the same time, it's also worrying that this many people in the first place got caught and banned. So this could also like show how easily exploitable this game's anti-cheat system actually is. But you know, still nice to be left in a loop. Yeah, so far I find that this update will definitely be really nice. A lot of really nice things that are happening here. Some don't really bother me, but most really, really good stuff, I find. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, just wanted to share my own opinion with this. And thank you for watching.